Art is All, painted on fabric with Winsor and Newton water mixable oils. This painting began on a quiet afternoon during a slow walk through Dresso, a fabric shop nestled in the heart of Vancouver. Tucked between bolts of fabric, I found a piece that stopped me in my tracks, a deep burgundy base, blooming with oversized flowers in soft pinks, pale yellows, and whispering greens. It was loud and delicate at the same time, like something forgotten but still full of life. And as I held it in my hands, I suddenly saw something else, a small, quiet house surrounded by a garden. That image stayed with me, because that house, it wasn't just imagination. It was real, and it was mine, but it hadn't always been what it is now. 4 years ago, the house was tired and neglected, both outside and in. The front yard was filled with weeds taller than my knees. The backyard was a wilderness of dry grass, broken branches, and things left behind. There was no path to walk, no flowers to notice, no birdsong to greet the morning. It was a place full of silence, not the peaceful kind, but the heavy kind, the kind that reminds you of everything undone. But I began anyway. I started pulling weeds, not because I believed things would change overnight, but because I had to start somewhere. Day after day, I cleared space. I laid stones to make a path. I planted seeds in soil that hadn't been touched in years. I waited, not with certainty, but with a quiet kind of hope. And then something shifted. In spring, tiny green shoots appeared. They were small and fragile, but they were there. By summer, bees returned to the garden. In autumn, the fruit trees, once dry and unyielding, began to offer apples and plums. The house didn't become bigger or newer, but it started to feel different. It felt alive. So when I sat down to create this piece, I knew exactly where to begin with that fabric. I stretched it like a canvas, careful not to lose the rhythm of its flowers. I didn't want to cover them. I wanted to work with them, to let them guide me, and to bring the scene to life. I used Winsor & Newton's water mixable oil colors, paints that offer the same richness and texture of traditional oil paint, but can be mixed and cleaned with water. No toxic solvents, no strong chemical smells, just color, softness, and breath. It was the perfect choice for painting directly on fabric, where each brushstroke needed to feel light and intentional. The house I painted is small, but it holds 4 years of work, of seasons, of learning how to care for something again. It sits gently within the garden of printed flowers, not separate from them, but a part of them. That's the story of this piece, of a forgotten space, slowly finding life again, of weeds turned into pathways, silence turned into stories, of a house that became not just shelter, but home. This isn't just a painting. It's a memory, a transformation, a quiet celebration of what can grow when we don't give up. And just like that, with every brushstroke, every season, and every petal, this little house became part of the earth and part of me.